Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and today we are on day 247. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you're here today. We're going to be reading out of 2 Samuel chapters 8 and 9, Ezekiel chapters 2 and 3, Mark chapter 5, but only verses 21 through 43, and then we're going to close out the day with Psalm 119 verses 153 through 160. So let's hop into 2 Samuel chapter 8. After this, David struck the Philistines and subdued them, and David took the bridle of the mother city out of the hand of the Philistines. He defeated Moab and measured them with the line, making them to lie down on the ground. And he measured 2 lines to put to death, and 1 full line to keep alive. The Moabites became servants to David and brought tribute. David also struck Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his dominion at the river. David took from him 1,700 horsemen and 20,000 footmen. David hamstrung the chariot horses, but reserved enough of them for 100 chariots. When the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David struck 22,000 men of the Syrians. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David and brought tribute. Yahweh gave victory to David wherever he went. David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem. From Betah and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took a great quantity of bronze. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had struck all the army of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram, his son, to King David to greet him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and struck him, for Hadadezer had wars with Toi. Joram brought with him vessels of silver, vessels of gold, and vessels of bronze. King David also dedicated these to Yahweh with the silver and gold that he dedicated of all the nations which he subdued, of Syria, of Moab, of the children of Ammon, of the Philistines, of Amalek, and of the plunder of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah. David earned the reputation when he returned from striking down 18,000 men of the Syrians in the Valley of Salt. He put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom he put garrisons, and all the Edomites became servants to David. Yahweh gave victory to David wherever he went. David reigned over all Israel, and David executed justice and righteousness for all his people. Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the army. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Zadok, the son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, the son of Abiathar, were priests. Seraiah was the scribe. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were chief ministers. Chapter 9. David said, "Is there yet any who has left of Saul's house, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?" There was of Saul's house a servant whose name was Ziba, and they called him to David, and the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" He said, "I am your servant." The king said, "Is there not yet any of Saul's house, that I may show the kindness of God to him?" And Ziba said to the king, "Jonathan still has a son who is lame in his feet." The king said to him, "Where is he?" Ziba said to the king, behold, he is in the house of Machir, the son of Amiel, in Lo-debar. Then King David sent and brought him out of the house of Machir, the son of Amiel, from Lo-debar. Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, fell on his face, and showed respect. And David said, Mephibosheth. And he answered, Behold your servant. And David said to him, Don't be afraid, for I will surely show you kindness for Jonathan your father's sake, and will restore to you all the land of Saul your father, and you will eat bread at my table continually. He bowed down and said, What is your servant, that you should look at such a dead dog as I am? Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, All that belonged to Saul and to all his house I have given to your master's son. Till the land for him, you, your sons, and your servants. Bring in the harvest, that your master's son may have bread to eat. But Mephibosheth, your master's son, will always eat bread at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, According to all that my lord, the king commands his servant, so your servant will do. So Mephibosheth ate at the king's table like one of the king's sons. He had a young son whose name was Micah. All who lived in Ziba's house were servants to Mephibosheth. So he lived in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the king's table. He was lame in both of his feet. That is such a beautiful story, and I'm so sorry that I cannot pronounce his name. In my private reading, when I'm just, sitting on the couch reading, what I would have done is when I got to his name, I would have just cut it short. So instead of and I do know how to pronounce it in my head, and that's where it is. It's the "ia." There's no Mephibosheth. So what I would have done is Meph had a young son whose name was Micah. All who lived in Ziba's house were servants to Meph. So Meph lived in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the king's table, and he was lame in both his feet. So I give him a nickname. All right, thanks for your patience. Here we move into Ezekiel chapters 2 and 3. He said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet, and I will speak with you. The Spirit entered into me when he spoke to me and set me on my feet, and I heard him who spoke to me. And he said to me, Son of man, I send you to the children of Israel, to a nation of rebels who have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me even to this very day. The children are impudent and stiff-hearted. I am sending you to them, and you shall tell them, This is what the Lord Yahweh says. They, whether they will hear or whether they will refuse, for they are a rebellious house, yet they will know that there has been a prophet among them. You, son of man, don't be afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns are with you, and you dwell among scorpions, don't be afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they are a rebellious house. You shall speak my words to them, whether they will hear or whether they will refuse, for they are most rebellious. But you, son of man, hear what I tell you. Don't be rebellious like that rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat that which I give you. When I looked, behold, A hand was stretched out to me, and behold, a scroll of a book was in it. He spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and lamentations, mourning, and woe were written in it. Chapter 3. He said to me, Son of man, eat what you find, eat this scroll, and go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the scroll. He said to me, Son of man, eat this scroll that I give you, and fill your belly and your bowels with it. And then I ate it. It was as sweet as honey in my mouth. And he said to me, Son of man, go to the house of Israel and speak my words to them. For you are not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many peoples of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words you can't understand. Surely, if I sent you to them, they would listen to you. But the house of Israel will not listen to you, for they will not listen to me. For all the house of Israel are obstinate and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made your face hard against their faces, and your forehead hard against their foreheads. I have made your forehead as a diamond, harder than flint. Don't be afraid of them, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they are a rebellious house. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, receive in your heart and hear with your ears all my words that I speak to you. Go to them of the captivity, to the children of your people, and speak to them, and tell them, this is what the Lord Yahweh says, whether they will hear or whether they will refuse. Then the Spirit lifted me up, and I heard behind me the voice of a great rushing, saying, Blessed be Yahweh's glory from this place. I heard the noise of the wings of the living creatures as they touched one another, and the noise of the wheels beside them, even the noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, and Yahweh's hand was strong on me. And then I came to them of the captivity at Tel Aviv, who lived by the river Chebar, and to where they lived, and I sat there overwhelmed among them 7 days. At the end of 7 days, Yahweh's word came to me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word from my mouth, and warn them from me. When I tell the wicked, you will surely die, and you give him no warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, that wicked man will die in his iniquity. But I will require his blood at your hand. Yet if you warn the wicked, and he doesn't turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he will die in his iniquity. But you have delivered your soul. Again, when a righteous man turns from his righteousness and commits iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he will die, because you have not given him warning. He will die in his sin, and his righteous deeds, which he has done, will not be remembered. But I will require his blood at your hand. Nevertheless, if you warn the righteous man that the righteous not sin, and he does not sin, he will surely live, because he took warning, and you have delivered your soul. Yahweh's hand was there on me, and he said to me, Arise, go out into the plain, and I will talk with you there. And then I arose, and I went out into the plain, and behold, Yahweh's glory stood there, like the glory which I saw by the river Chebar. Then I fell on my face. Then the Spirit entered into me and set me on my feet. He spoke with me and said to me, Go shut yourself in your house. But you, son of man, behold, they will put ropes on you and will bind you with them, and you will not go out among them. I will make your tongue stick to the roof of your mouth, so that you will be mute and will not be able to correct them, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with you, I will open your mouth, and you shall tell them, this is what the Lord Yahweh says. He who hears, let him hear, and he who refuses, let him refuse, for they are a rebellious house. My goodness, I have goosebumps. That is a little much for this girl. Okay, Mark chapter 5, verses 21 through 43. When Jesus had crossed back over in the boat to the other side, a great multitude was gathered to him, and he was by the sea. Behold, one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, came, and seeing him, he fell at his feet and begged him much, saying, My little daughter is at the point of death. Please come and lay your hands on her, that she may be made healthy and live. He went with him, and a great multitude followed him, and they pressed upon him on all sides. A certain woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years, and had suffered many things by many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse, having heard the things concerning Jesus, came up behind him in the crowd, and touched his clothes. For she said, If I just touch his clothes, I will be made well. Immediately the flow of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Immediately Jesus, perceiving in himself that the power had gone out from him, turned around in the crowd and asked, Who touched my clothes? His disciples said to him, You see the multitude pressing against you, and you say, Who touched me? He looked around to see who had done this thing, but the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had been done for her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. He said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be cured of your disease. While he was still speaking, people came from the synagogue ruler's house, saying, Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore? But Jesus, when he heard the message spoken, immediately said to the ruler of the synagogue, Don't be afraid, only believe. He allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. He came to the synagogue ruler's house, and he saw an uproar, weeping, and a great wailing. When he had entered in, he said to them, Why do you make an uproar and weep? The child is not dead, but asleep. They ridiculed him, but he, having put them all out, took the father of the child, her mother, and those who were with him, and went in where the child was lying. Taking the child by the hand, he said to her, Talitha cumi, which means, being interpreted, Girl, I tell you, get up. Immediately the girl rose up and walked, for she was 12 years old. They were amazed with great amazement. He strictly ordered them that no one should know this, and commanded that something should be given to her to eat. Oh, I love this. There's so much that I love about this. I think the reason I'm drawn to it is because it's the story of two girls, a woman and a girl. And there is not a lot of documentation about women, because back then women really didn't hold a level in society worth documenting, quite frankly. And just that these were included in Jesus' ministry so that we all remember that he loved everybody. He loved everybody. And, you know, when the synagogue ruler's house, when the people came out of the synagogue ruler's house, the ruler of the synagogue, the people came out and said, don't bother Jesus anymore. He's dead. Jesus didn't, he wasn't bothered by that. He was quiet. And he said, don't worry about it. She's asleep. And he went in private and healed her in private. There was no theatrics. There was no chastising. There was no anger. It was just a fluid movement of his love and his grace, his forgiveness, his healing. It was all quiet and just beautiful. Okay, let's close out the day. Psalm 119, verse 153 through 160. Consider my affliction and deliver me, for I don't forget your law. Plead my cause and redeem me. Revive me according to your promise. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they don't seek your statutes. Great are your tender mercies, Yahweh. Revive me according to your ordinances. Many are persecutors and my adversaries. I haven't swerved from your testimonies. I look at the faithless and loathing because they don't observe your word. Consider how I love your precepts. Revive me, Yahweh, according to your loving kindness. All of your words are truth. Every one of your righteous ordinances ensures forever. Forever. Well, everybody, that wasn't so bad. I was a little scared when we had multiple chapters, but it wasn't too bad. Thank you for stopping by. I sure hope this was a great reading for you. It certainly touched my heart, every single piece of it. So have the most fantastic day today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.